it's me, Claire, also known as Claire here on my channel. Hello. Are you serious? Let's try this again. Hello you guys, it's me, Claire, also known as Claire here on my channel, and today I am finally doing my Chevy Storytime video. I know I said I was gonna film this last week, but I ended up being really pissed off at Chevy. So I didn't want to make this when I was mad because I didn't want it to turn into a rant. My personal experience with Chevy has been very poor, to say it nicely. The car itself was not the problem. So before anybody goes crazy in the comments like, oh, Chevy cars are so good, they're so reliable, calm your titties down. That's not what I'm saying. I personally didn't think that mine was anything spectacular, but that's a whole other conversation. This really has nothing to do with the car itself. This is all based off of my customer service experience and what I experienced during my time with my Camaro. All right, so I had a leased 2013 Camaro. I got it, I think it was May 2013. I think it was May, I'm pretty sure, something like that. I got it brand new. I'm sorry about the squeaky toy, please ignore that. My first experience with Chevy, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really amazing either. It was just kind of whatever. I did think my salesman was kind of a douche. He liked to call me honey, babe, hon, like I don't know. I don't like condescending names like that, especially if I do not know you, but car salesman calling me hun, honey, I don't know. I feel like it's very unprofessional, but I really, really wanted a Camaro. But whatever, I was just like, okay, whatever, just give me the keys. I want the damn car. That was kind of my first impression of Chevy. I just kind of thought it was scummy. I did get my car in New Jersey. When I moved to Texas, that's when things started going south. So let's get into the really bad. Okay, so because I had a leased Camaro, part of my lease was that I had to get my services done at a Chevy dealership. I ended up going to this dealership that was about maybe 3 miles from where I lived at the time. It was really close, really convenient. The only negative that I can say about the dealership from the beginning was that they took forever. Like, I don't know if it's because the dealership was just really busy or if they were trying to get like more money for having people work for longer hours. I don't know what the deal was, but like a basic oil change legit could take anywhere between 2 hours to 4 hours. It just depended on, like, I guess who was there. I have no idea. All right, you guys, so my very worst customer service experience ever, like not just at Chevy, like period, was in November 2015. I remember very clearly because I had gotten up early, I dressed up all cute, I was planning on going to the mall, and it was the day that the H&M and Balmain collection released, and there were these 2 dresses that I wanted them so bad, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get up early, I'm gonna go to the mall, and I'm gonna see if I can get my hands on those dresses, because you never know unless you try. Driving to the mall's only like a mile from where I live, 1.5 miles, it's really not far. But driving to the mall, my tire pressure sensor in my back left tire decided that it was going to warn me that my tire pressure was like super low in that tire. Like it dropped like 10 PSI just in that drive. So I'm like, oh, hold up, there's a problem here. And I'm like, I think I'm just gonna go to the dealership and get it figured out. But I was like, let me call them, see if I need an appointment, see what's going on, see if I should be freaking out, see if everything's okay, whatever. Call the dealership. They tell me not to worry about it, just bring my car in, they'll be able to take a look at it. I also said that while I was there, I wanted to do routine maintenance. I wanted to get my oil change done, tire rotation, and then I just wanted them to check out that tire and make sure that there wasn't something in my tire. Seems perfectly logical, right? So I get to the dealership, give the guy my keys, tell him what's up. They're like, okay, well we're gonna figure out what's going on with your car. Now, like I said before, this dealership would take forever to get something done. I mean, like forever, hours. You would sit there for hours. They gave me like a shuttle to a nearby restaurant. So I went, I had lunch, they picked me back up, I came back, everything was fine. The guy that gave me my shuttle had like no idea where he was going and actually got lost. I don't get how he got lost because it's the same road that the dealership was on, but whatever. Anyways, we ended up getting back to the dealership, and by this point, I think 1.5 hours had passed, my car still wasn't ready. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna sit in the waiting room. So another 1.5 hours goes by. So at this point, I've technically been waiting for 3 hours. I'm bored out of my mind. I can't just sit in a waiting room and just chill. Like I was fucking bored. Like I said, I was planning on going to the mall, so I was actually dressed up really cute. I had like a cute shirt dress on. I had on like thigh-high boots. I had on a designer handbag. Like, I mean, I was dressed up. I was trying to look cute. I had my hair and makeup all done cute. I was going to that H&M Balmain launch. I was doing it. I was gonna get those dresses. Yeah, no, I had already missed. It was sold out. Yeah, I never got my dresses. At this point, I'm bored out of my mind and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go walk around the showroom a little bit. Like I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna move around, get the blood flowing, whatever. So I stopped near the Corvettes and the Camaros. I mean, obviously, who wouldn't want to look at the new Corvettes? Like, they're beautiful. I remember they had, I think it was a Z28 Camaro, and they had 2 Corvettes inside. One was a hardtop, one was a convertible, and I was like, ooh, I like them a lot. So the salesman comes up trying to help me, and obviously I'm not car shopping because I have my car getting work done. It's a lease. My lease wasn't even close to being over. And I told him, I was like, oh, I'm just waiting for my car to be serviced. I'm just bored and needed to move around. And he's like, oh, okay, I understand. Like, is there anything I can help you with? And I'm like, no, like, I'm really good. Like, I'm not car shopping. He's like, oh, okay, well, what do you have now? And I was like, oh, I have a Camaro, you know, whatever. It's a V6, piece of shit, whatever. So he doesn't really ask me anymore about my car, but then he kind of asked me about if I had seen the new Camaros. Obviously, I'm standing next to one, and I was like, yeah, I'm just not a big fan of the updates to the body style. Like, me personally, I don't like it. I like the current model that I have. And I was like, but if I do want to get rid of my car, I really want a convertible, and I want a 2-seater. That's literally all I said. So I was standing next to the Corvettes, and he kind of like looked at the Corvette and then looked at me. I mean, obviously it's a 2-seater convertible. And he just kind of like looks at the car again and looks at me again. He's like, well, if you drive a Camaro right now, there's no way you can afford a Corvette. So why don't we go look at the new Camaros, because that's a little bit more budget friendly for you. Oh, hell no, this motherfucker did not. I was so mad. Oh my God, I could not believe it. Like, it took me a minute to register just what he had said, because I was like, is this motherfucker serious? Like, you have no idea what I can afford or what some random ass douchebag walking in can afford. You have no clue. Oh, I was so mad. I could not believe this asshole. But I didn't even say anything. I just walked away. Like, at that point, I was like, if I open my mouth, they're gonna throw me out. So I'm just gonna walk away, be done. Luckily, when I had walked back to the service area, the service guy was coming out telling me that my car was done anyway. So I was like, whew, hallelujah, I get to leave. Good. So I ended up paying for my servicing. They told me that there was nothing wrong with the tire, but that they did an oil change, tire rotation, and that they reset the sensor in my back left tire, whatever sensor. They told me they reset it. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like $190. It was something ridiculous. It was seriously close to $200. It was either like $180, $190, or something like that. And I'm like, bruh, for an oil change, tire rotation, and to reset a sensor? Ugh. So, you know, there went the money that I wanted to spend on my H&M Balmain dresses. That kind of ruined my day. Whatever, I ended up going home. I don't even think I went to the mall after that. I just went home and I was like, I'm just gonna sulk. I'm gonna watch Netflix. I'm gonna sulk. Like, fuck this. I had either the next day or the next 2 days off. It was a day or two. And I ended up driving my car to work, obviously. And what do you know? That same back left tire pressure sensor started slowly telling me that my tire pressure was getting lower. And I'm like, that's weird. Didn't they just tell me that they fixed this? Like, so I call him, and this was just before Thanksgiving. I think this was a couple of days before Thanksgiving that this happened. And the guy was like, oh, well, you're just being paranoid. There's nothing wrong. If you don't have a flat tire, there's no issue. And I'm like, did this motherfucker really just call me paranoid? Like, I don't know. It pissed me off. So I'm like, well, whatever. Like, okay, I guess I'll bring it in after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving passes, I hadn't driven my car, and then my fiance was leaving for work, and he texted me, and he's like, your tire is practically flat. And I go outside, and what do you know? Like, there's like, literally, like, my tire, which is normally, like, it was, like, this big, because I had, like, the big tires. I didn't have, like, the sporty ones. So it went from, like, looking, like, normal to, like, here. And I'm like, what happened? I was like, clearly there's a leak in my tire that I told them I wanted them to check and they didn't check. Also, it was the same back left tire, so that tells me they didn't do the tire rotation. So I'm like, you guys literally didn't even do the service that I had paid for you to do. Like, what? And I sat there for 3.5 hours for no reason? Are you kidding me? I was so mad. I was like, I cannot believe these people. So I ended up calling the dealership, and the guy was basically like, oh, well, you probably drove over something on your way home. And I'm like, really? So what are the odds of that happening? It's really gonna be the same back left tire. Are you serious, dude? Like, come on. So I took to Twitter, and I kind of threw a bitch fit. I don't know if you guys have ever gone on Twitter and just like ranted about a company or a brand or whatever, but usually they will actually respond to you and they typically get shit fixed. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. If this dealership isn't gonna help me, then maybe the people on Twitter will. And I will tell you right now, those people at the Chevy customer care on Twitter are amazing. And if you do have an issue with Chevy, do contact them, because they got me hooked up like that. Within, I think it was maybe 2 days, they had me set up at another dealership. They gave me a brand new Tahoe rental for the day. They fixed my car for free. There was actually a screw in my tire, but they ended up fixing that for free. They did all my diagnostics. They redid like the oil change and all that stuff. Like, they literally did everything. They were like, no, we're gonna do like a full diagnostics on your car, make sure it's good. And I'm like, finally. So when it comes time to turn in my lease, I'm told that I can take my car to any GM dealership. It could be a Cadillac, it could be Chevy, like literally anything. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll just take it to that dealership. And I even called them to make sure that they would take my car. I called to double check, and they told me, yeah, like, we'll take it, it's no problem, like any dealership can take your car. So the day my lease ends was August 6th. So that was, as of today, that was about 2.5 weeks ago. Take it there, they tell me, oh, we can't take your vehicle. Why? Why can't you take my vehicle? And they're like, oh, well, since you didn't lease it here and since you're not buying one of our vehicles, we can't take your lease turn-in. Why? Anyone can take it, so what are you talking about? So I was pissed, and at this point, I tell them, I'm like, look, my original dealership is 2,000 miles away. Like, I can't take it to the original dealership. Like, I brought it here because you guys were the only ones that actually gave me decent service. So what the hell? Luckily, I was actually talking to one of the managers, and he ended up being like, oh, like, it's okay, like, we'll get it sorted out. While I'm there, my fiance had followed me with our dog and my car because we were going to go to the groomer and get my little fur ball over here washed and have his little mani-pedi. So my fiance ends up taking my dog out of the car, obviously, because it's fucking hot. Like, I live in Dallas, like, it gets hot here. So the dog, oh my god, he does not do well in the car either. So he's just like walking him around the parking lot. And we're very responsible dog owners. We keep our dog on a leash. We have bags that we bring with us everywhere so we can pick up his waste. That's just how we are. My dog was freaked out, so he did poop in the parking lot. And my fiance picked it up, and he was looking for a trash can to throw away the poo baggie in. And this asshole manager, and like, I guess it was a salesman or maybe another manager, I don't even know, but they were like standing near me waiting for me to like talk to my leasing company to make sure that I could turn in my car there. I don't know why they needed to do that, but whatever. But they're sitting there talking shit about my fiance cleaning up after my dog. And I'm like, that's so unprofessional. Like, you're really gonna talk shit about a customer that is 10 feet away in front of his fiance. Granted, they didn't know that I even knew him, but the fact is, like, how are you gonna talk badly about another customer when you have a customer that's close enough to hear you? Like, the fact that I could hear you, like, that's just rude, dude. Like, what is wrong with you? If I did that shit at my job, I'd get fired. Like, that's fucked up. At this point, I'm pissed, and my fiance actually brought the dog inside the dealership right after they said something, and he like came up to me and handed me the dog, and I just looked at the salesman like you're an asshole. Like, I just gave him that look like, fuck off. So I'm talking on the phone with I think I leased my car through GM Financial. So I'm talking to GM Financial, and they're like, they literally don't need anything from us. They're like, all they need is a federal odometer statement and for you to sign a paper saying that you turned in the car. That's literally it. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I tell the guy that, and he's like, no, I need like a lease end statement. I'm like, but that's not what they're saying. So I hand the phone to this manager guy. I'm like, you talk to her, you guys figure it out, because I'm just trying to get rid of the damn car. So I don't know what she said to him, but he went from having this cocky ass attitude to, oh, okay, yes ma'am, okay, yes, okay. I'm like, all right. And then next thing you know, he's grabbing a paper from his desk. He's grabbing that fucking odometer statement, goes out to my car, looks at the odometer, looks at me, I sign it, that's it. He tells me that's it, that's done. I give him the keys. Adios, motherfuckers, right? Like, that's what you would have thought. So I finally think that I'm done. I'm done with the Chevy curse. Fast forward about a week later, maybe it might have been like 10 days later. It was like either a week and a half, something like that. GM Financial calls me and they're like, hi, like, when are you planning on turning in your vehicle? Wait, what? What? I was like, I already did turn it in. Like, what do you mean? And they're like, we don't have any record of your car being turned in, so where did you turn in your car? And I'm just like, oh my God, are you serious right now? So at this point, I am livid. The guy tells me, he's like, oh my God, we're so sorry. Like, we're gonna contact that dealership. We're gonna get everything sorted out. Or so I thought. A couple days later, I get the same kind of phone call again. This was a different guy, and he's like, hey, like, when are you planning on turning in your car? I talked to this one, and he actually, I don't know what his name was. Whoever you are, if you happen to see this video by some freak chance, you were awesome. Thank you. He ended up getting his supervisor involved, and they contacted the dealership, and then they contacted me immediately afterward to make sure that I knew that, yes, they had spoken to them, that they do have the car. It's all like marked in my records. So I'm like, oh, thank you. Fast forward another week to yesterday, I think it was yesterday. I got another phone call from GM Financial asking me how I was gonna pay my late fees for not turning in my car on time. And I'm like, no, honey, I turned in my car the day I was supposed to turn. Ugh, I was so mad. So now I ended up calling that dealership yesterday morning, and first the receptionist like told me that they're busy. She's like, oh, well, you can talk to one of the managers. Sends me to my manager's line, and it doesn't even ring, it just goes to voicemail. So I call her back, and I'm like, I need to speak to a real person, not an answering machine. So who do you have that I can speak to? Same shit again. Passes my call on, goes to voicemail. So I call again, and I tell her, I'm like, look, I'm not playing games. If you don't have me talk to somebody, I am going to come up there. So tell me what you need me to do. Do you want me to drive up there? And that's when she's like, oh, well, they're in a meeting right now. And I'm like, bitch, you could have told me that. You could have told me that before. And she's like, well, you need to talk to the person that you worked with, because another manager isn't going to be able to help you. Why wouldn't another manager be able to help me? Anyone there should be able to help me, right? Like, you all work together. Hello. So an hour later, because I did leave a voicemail for the first time that it went to voicemail, and I mean, it wasn't exactly the nicest. It was like, yeah, you worked with me 2 weeks ago. Remember me? Remember the Black Marrow? Yeah, you probably do. And I told him, like, please call me back at your earliest convenience. He calls me, and I mean, this guy sounds like borderline scared when he talks to me. He's like, yeah, I did speak to GM Financial. They're supposed to come pick up the car. And I'm like, well, you need to let me know when they pick up the car, because I have these calls basically telling me that my shit is gonna go into collections, and I have never missed a payment on anything. That is the one thing that I take super great pride in. I don't do debt. I pay my shit off. Like, that's who I am. So the fact that I have like these people calling me, like telling me that I owe them money, pissed me off. So I'm like, bruh, not okay, not okay. So now I think the situation is fixed. If not, I guess I'm gonna have to go up there and hand deliver the fucking car myself. I don't know what the deal is, but yeah, so that's pretty much my experience with Chevy and why I'm not gonna ever shop from them ever again. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, learned something from this. If you like the story time videos, I have plenty of crazy stories that I can tell you that aren't as ranty like this. I'm really sorry, I don't mean to rant about how much I hate Chevy, but anyways. Let me know in the comments what you think down below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more videos with me.